Hello everybody and welcome. As you well and truly know, this is NBL Overtime. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. All our socials at NBL. Another week in the books and only a couple more sleeps before we're into it again. Leonard Copeland in the house. Hello, Leonard.
Hey, brother, there's a lot going on.
Look at
brother.
you. You're psyched. You have always loved the Stouse, so no doubt the Sunshine Stouse was right up your alley. We'll get to that very shortly. There is no Liam Santamaria because he's the only person on the NBL Overtime panel that has a real job. And sometimes when you're the GM of the Next Stars program, you have to miss a show. So Liam, wherever you are, hello to you. Know you're watching. Ogun Ulick is in the house. Number one man when it comes to news breaking in this country. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, good. I have a real job too.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I got a real job
but
too.
you know what?
You don't work.
You don't have a real job. This is your real job, reporting on everything that's happening. So you are here as part of your real job.
That is correct.
There you go. And you had a fair bit on the weekend. So we're going to start it straight up with what happened on Saturday night. Development, a lot of talk since the halftime, right before halftime with Main and Aaron Baines that led into what may or may not have happened at halftime. What can you tell us?
So we know what happened on the court, right? It was the physical rebound contest between Aaron Baines and Sam Menenga and Latmayan. Latmayan, you can see in this vision, throws that elbow towards Aaron Baines' neck. He is obviously aggrieved. He releases that ire toward the officials. As they go back, there's they're shoulder to shoulder. There's some back and forth when it comes to talking. The players ultimately do separate, and then there is what we're told is a physical altercation between Aaron Baines and Adam Ford. That is what the league is investigating currently. The game review panel has come forward. They initially got the audio of that exchange. They have now been approved to get the vision of the exchange. And so they have worked with Stadium Queensland to get that footage. And so they're in the process of watching it and figuring out what happened and seeing where to lay disciplinary measures and things like that.
This is taking too long for mine, okay? A lot of room and innuendo around these type of things. Anytime there is a coach and a player out of the public eye, there's always going to be talk, social media in today's day and age. I want to ask you why it takes so long to get the security vision. What are the protocols or the processes that actually means, like, in my mind, Copes, I don't know what you think, but in my mind, this type of gravity of situation where a player, Latmayan, was ejected for what happened on the court, and then we come back on at halftime and Aaron Baines gets ejected for what happened away from the cameras and away from the court. Why does it take so long, and why is there such a process to get vision?
So two things. The first one is they had to figure out, they had to get statements from everybody initially, right? The Taipans were on a plane to America, so it was very tough to get statements from everybody from that perspective. The other one is the footage is not owned by the league. The footage is owned by Nissan Arena, which is part of Stadiums Queensland. And so they needed to get approval from both Adam Ford and Aaron Baines. They needed written approval from both. As of today, they got that. Took them a little bit to get it, but they got that. And so there is a process to get that vision. The NBL doesn't own that. Nissan Arena owns that.
I understand that. I don't know if we're going to see that vision. This ain't TMZ anywhere in the NBL, but maybe we will at some point. I absolutely get it. I just think with the actual situation and how legitimately serious it is and what we are hearing, to take this long and have to get permission from the two people who are alleged to be involved to be able to see the vision, to see what the bloody hell happened, it's a long and drawn out process, and one that Cairns we should be getting pumped up about Cairns about to play an NBA team.
Absolutely.
Except we're still sitting around waiting to see what actually happened. Now, they were both, there was no toing and froing. Both Baines and Ford, when asked, were given the okay straight away for the vision to be shown or to be seen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Adam Ford initially gave it. Adam Ford gave a verbal agreement, but it had to be in writing. So they ultimately got it. But I agree with you. This process does take some time, and the league does need to figure out what happened. And it sucks because until then, we're dealing with innuendo.
Absolutely.
Right? We're dealing with different versions of events from different people. Word spreads pretty quickly in this league, and so that's what you're dealing with. We want to know what happened. We want to know, did someone put hands on the other person? Who instigated these sorts of things? Until we know those things, we really can't make any sort of firm judgment on it.
Let's go back, and can we talk about the thing that happened on the court, though? This, if we can control that, then maybe halftime doesn't happen.
But that happens, right?
Of course it happens. But I'm saying we see that Baines is a little bit more upset than usual. Is there any way for the replay center to talk to the referee and say, go have a look at it, let's calm him down?
But they did.
Okay, so
they did. By the time we come back onto the court, once we and the players come back onto the court and we could see what was happening, the ejection had been made because of the review system.
Okay, but then, okay, so we got two upset teams, right? Don't let them walk out together. They're walking out side by side. If I'm a coach, I'm grabbing my team and saying, look, guys, let's calm down here. We don't want anyone to get ejected anymore. We don't want anyone to get fined. Let them go for 20 seconds, and then we'll follow or something. But you don't go if you...
Copes, well, that absolutely sounds 100% logical in a common sense world, right? But you've been in this moment. You've been in the moment. There's no doubt you've been in heated rivalry games and all the rest of it. You're thinking you're the Magic and the Tigers back in the 90s, and had Lindsay have said, if you and Jason Smith had been trashing each other for 10 minutes, if Lindsay had said, no, Copes, just wait, we'll let them go
Drew
first.
would have said, grab Copes, because Copes is going to knock somebody out.
Well,
so somebody.
And would you have listened?
No.
Exactly.
No.
So I understand 100% with what you're saying. The reason we're still talking about this, and disagree if you feel, the reason we are still talking about this because it's alleged that the head coach of the opposition team is alleged to be involved, right?
That's right. If that didn't happen, I don't know if we're still talking about
We're
this.
not talking about it.
Because the question that I've been putting to people is, what did Aaron Baines do that might have aggrieved a Taipans player or Taipans players? Outside of walking alongside Taipans players and exchanging some words with them, and they exchange words back, I don't know what would have sort of drawn the ire of someone like Adam Ford.
Yep.
So if in fact he did instigate something, I'd be curious as to why. Was there something else? From what we've seen, I don't think so.
Maybe
so
he was
what
trying to
confuses
protect
me.
his players, or thought he was protecting his players, or firing up his players. We don't know. It's hard to speculate because we can't see the film.
Based on what you just said, and having so say allegedly if Adam Ford is involved in some way, which it says he was definitely in the vicinity. This is how he coaches, right?
Yes.
He's got all his team, every single player. He has their back. He's passionate.
And they know
he
that,
leads from the
and that's
front,
why
and
they
they know
play-
that,
and
right?
that's why they play hard for him.
I'm not suggesting or condoning any actions if in fact that's how it played out, but that is the Adam Ford. And the very fact is that when they walked back onto the court, they handled it, the Taipans, in that third quarter much better than Brisbane did. I know there was no Aaron Baines, and that was obviously a situation that's not going to help the Bullets, but the Taipans handled it. And who knows what Adam Ford was saying in the timeouts, but I'm thinking it's us against the world, screw them, rah, rah, rah. And his young players led. Now, they nearly threw it away.
That kind of stuff with Adam Ford, and they went out and showed that they're going to play for him.
True, absolutely. Not condoning anything, and there's no way a coach should ever be involved in something like that with a player.
Right.
But the passion that he has, I'm not surprised that he feels at some point he stuck up for a player, if he felt he had to, rightly or wrongly.
Yeah, the counter to that is, imagine if that was Chase Buford, right? Do we give him the same level of grace? I don't know if the general NBL public gives Chase Buford that grace if it is him as opposed to Adam Ford, right?
Just quickly, I'm not giving Adam Ford grace and suggesting what he did was the right thing. I'm not condoning it. I'm just simply saying that is what, in his mindset at the moment, he might have been thinking. It is wrong. Never should a coach and a player, or a player and a player for a start, but a coach be in a situation if that's alleged what to happen. But you are right around the Chase Buford situation, because we would just be kicking him from the outset.
And I think the general NBL community publicly would be doing that as well.
All right, hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. We are expecting in the next 24 or so hours, when all the collated evidence is put together, we'll see what actually comes out of it.
Liam. I need to see it.
You want to see it? You want to see
it?
it? You want to see it? Do you want me to get it for you?
Please.
Well, I haven't got it either, but we'll see how we go. Hey, New Zealand, Justinian Jessup injury, I believe, and there's going to be a new player brought in who comes very, very highly credentialed.
Anthony Lamb is joining the New Zealand Breakers. Now, he's signing for the remainder of the season, right? So this isn't just an injury replacement. He initially comes in to replace Jessup. Jessup has a pelvic injury, a hip injury. He's going to be out for a considerable amount of time, a few months is what I'm told. And so Anthony Lamb comes in, played a lot of games for the Golden State Warriors.
62, in fact.
62 for the Golden State Warriors last season. Was initially a two-way player. They converted his contract to a standard NBA contract so he can play in the playoffs. Right, and so he's someone who they really liked, played legitimate NBA minutes last season. He comes in, joins the Breakers for the remainder of the season.
My question is, what position does he play now? He's not a two-man, but he can shoot like a two. Where do you play him with the New Zealand Breakers?
Well, so they're an interesting team because they have Anthony Lamb, they have Zylan Cheatham, they've got Finn Delaney. These are guys who can all effectively play like 2, 3, 4, and probably small ball 5. And so while they don't have the size at the 5 that perhaps you'd want, that can match what they had last season with Derek Pardon, they do have positional size. And so from the 3, 4, and 5, you could put all those guys on the floor at once. Man, that's a really versatile team.
Does this make them a better team now?
Well, they were going to be good anyway. What I like about them, what they do, and I like when teams do this, they're just like, I don't care. Because I understand exactly what you're saying about the positional logjam that they have in certain areas. But when you've got a guy who is so talented, throw him in and let him work out. Mody Mayo's a great coach. He can just sort this out. They might have a tweaking of a game plan or a game structure to what they would have had with Justinian Jessup, who I like as a player as well, and shout out to Justinian to get himself right. But no, they're about the same. They're a team that are going to contend for a championship previously, and they're going to contend for a championship now with him on the roster.
Yeah, I'm curious what happens with Justinian Jessup, because this deal with Anthony Lamb, I'm told, has an NBA out. And so there is a chance that come toward the end of the season, Anthony Lamb gets an NBA opportunity. Justinian Jessup could be healthy by then. It could be an easy sort of like swap back in there. I think they're still figuring that part of it out.
Joe Healy is on the ground in Portland as the Breakers get ready to take on the Trailblazers, and she caught up with a couple of the Breakers to talk about their new, I'm assuming by now, official teammate.
Well, I kind of know Anthony from a while back. We played USA together, played against each other in the G League, so I kind of know what he brings to the table. But he's just a versatile, a difference maker for sure. He's a winner. He's won at multiple levels. Obviously, he brings NBA experience and leadership, so I'm excited to see what he can do for us.
Yeah, no, it was weird. Obviously, sad about Justinian and what he's gone through, but awesome that we're able to get someone in to fill the void as quickly as possible, and hopefully JJ's thing isn't too bad. But yeah, he seems like a great guy. We went to dinner last night as a team and got to know each other a bit better, and at practice he fit in pretty well. I've heard he's a bit of a connector on the court. He can do a little bit of everything, so slotting him in wasn't going to be really an issue. It's just getting him up to speed with the plays, but he's a very good player and plays 2 through the 4 and can do a lot of things. So I think for us and the way we play, he's going to fit in really well.
It's always exciting to get someone of that level, the guy who's playing in the NBA, and it's pretty good. No, I played with him in the G League for a little bit as well, so I've known him a bit more than the others. But yeah, someone who just plays as hard as anybody, knows the game and can really do a little bit of everything. So it's really exciting.
You'd respect that, Olga, the fact that Joe Healy doorstopped Cam Glidden while he was having breakfast to talk about Anthony Lamb. But of course, already, speaking very highly of this man they've only just met in some aspects. Will McDowell-White has known him for a little while and played with him, but straight up, he's a guy who can play and he's going to fit straight into that Breakers unit.
Absolutely. If you put him on the team with Will McDowell-White, he's going to find him. If they get him open, the way he shoots the ball, it's going to help him straight away, I think.
All right, Adelaide 36ers, Olgan, because there's been a fair bit floating around the last couple of days. Let's unpack it. Where do the 36ers sit? They were good on the weekend. I know they were zipping too, and there's no such thing as honourable losses, and CJ Bruton would hate hearing that or using the phrase, but they gave themselves opportunities against 2 teams that are fairly solid and expected to have good years. What does it look like when it comes to Adelaide?
Adelaide, they obviously got rid of Jamal Franklin really early in the piece. They have inquired about Dejan Vasiljevic. Now, Vasiljevic is not a name that I thought we'd be speaking about at all this NBL season. He came to an agreement with the Sydney Kings. They were pretty gracious in amending his out, and so he could go and explore his NBA and Euro options. He ultimately went and signed an Exhibit 10 with the Washington Wizards. Now, 99% of Exhibit 10s are effectively just G League deals. The expectation is you sign the Exhibit 10, you get waived pretty quickly, and you join that G League team for the season. You play a certain amount of games, and you get an Exhibit 10 bonus. That was the expectation with DJ. But it seems as though he wants to come back to the NBL, and the Adelaide 36ers are a team that are interested in him. Now, they can't just go and sign him. He has an interest to go there, but they can't sign him. If they put a contract forward to the NBL, it cannot be executed. This has to go through Sydney, because the Sydney Kings, because of that out, they have the right of first refusal with Dejan Vasiljevic.
So just so that the payout, the buyout that you touched on, but they trimmed a little bit, I assume, when you say they changed it. It was a bit smaller than what they may have thought it was going to be. It's actually irrelevant. The point is Adelaide have to pay whatever that number is, right? Whatever the amended number is, Adelaide have to pay that as well as the DJ contract?
It's a bit more complicated than that.
Okay.
The initial buyout with Sydney was more about amending the terms of the buyout. It was a really specific sort of EuroLeague buyout, and then it got to a point where the Kings said, basically, you can go and explore your options. You don't have to sign with the team for us to release you. And so that was the sort of grace that the Sydney Kings gave him initially. Now, Vasiljevic wants to come back and play in the NBL. There is a process with Sydney. Now, it is very complicated. It's not just a matter of paying a buyout fee. But there's a process. It takes some time. And the question is whether the Adelaide 36ers have time. They're 0-4 right now. They've got 3 games in 11 days. They could realistically be 0-7 by the time anything could even happen here. Right, and so is that, once you're 0-7, is it done and dusted by then?
Here's the thing. DJ Vasiljevic is a flat-out scorer. I've been knowing this kid for a very long time. Not everyone's high on him, But I know if you put the ball in his hands, he's going to be the best scorer on that team. I think he fits quite well because they have a host of guards. They have Mitch McCarron, Jason Kadee, Sunday Ditch. All can play and all can score, but they don't have a scorer's mentality. He has a scorer's mentality. If you watched him when he played with the Sydney Kings, he was surrounded by superstars. So whenever he did get the ball, 9 times out of 10, he was going to shoot it or knock it down. And when he made one, he's going to take that second and third, and he's capable of scoring 30 points on this team.
Before we go any further, does this mean they're not chasing an import anymore, or are they chasing an import and Vasiljevic?
They can't chase two different things. This would
be their guy.
This would theoretically be Vasiljevic jumping into that import spot.
Okay, all right. So, as it stands right now, you think that would be better if he comes in? Of course, they can't really be, unfortunately, zip and 4. They can't go backwards. Is the dragging of the feet of the process led by Sydney? Can they quicken this up if they decide? Because you're right, timing is kind of at the essence when it comes to Adelaide. Is it just a process thing that this always takes time, or does Sydney, who own the rights, have to come to a decision at some point?
That's weird because that sort of implies like a certain intent from Sydney, which I don't know exists. It's more that the process does take time. Cool. There are so many things that need to happen in order for a signing to happen. Yep. And so it seems like it's still a little bit away of even becoming realistic, but the interest is there.
Are Sydney at all interested in him playing for the Kings?
The Sydney Kings built their roster under the impression that Vasiljevic was not coming back. They, from what I understand, are very happy with the roster they built.
And they should be, because I think they've got a nice roster and they've done a really good job considering their whole new starting 5. I think if he wanted to, if it could work out in a timely manner, he will end up being a 36er. But you're right, zip and 7 then becomes an economic conversation about what you actually pump into a team that probably can't make the playoffs.
But you guys speak about going over and getting the import. Remember, they got to get the right import. There's plenty of imports over there. But if you bring another wrong import over here, Sydney's down. I mean, Adelaide's down the drain. They've done that year after year, got the wrong person. You got DJ's been here. He knows the league. He's won championships. He can play, and he's the best available player right now.
Would you? But again, that's right about the import and the Australian and familiar to the league, but then there's the process that does seem to take a little bit of time. So you're kind of sitting around twiddling your thumbs. I'll ask you though, you think he can give you 20 a game? Like
easy.
Easy.
He would give you 20 points a game on that team.
If he gives 20 points a game on that team, we're looking at an all-NBL second. Maybe even all NBL first team.
Trust
right?
me.
You're that high on him?
I'm very high on DJ. Okay. Very high.
But the larger question is, so right now Adelaide are the 10th best team in the NBL? What does he make their ceiling?
They'll make the top 6.
They'll make the top 6 by putting Vasiljevic into this crew.
They still got players around. Now, remember, they still got players around.
I love him. I really he can play, but just that's it. So he's the guy to move them from here to let's go.
Because you remember now, they're losing, but they're right there. Every game they've been in. They're not getting blown out.
That's true.
They're close. And if you bring a guy in like that who comes out and scores 25 in that first game and they get a win, then all of a sudden they're hyped. They're ready to go. They're already hyped anyway. I think he can help them right now.
You know, the best thing about this is DJ Vasiljevic would absolutely have that mentality as well, that he's coming in to prove a point, be it to maybe the Boomers or to the Kings or to the NBA, or Wizards, whoever it might be. And that adds a lot for us in the media when it comes to the...
we know he can shoot, but it's his mentality more than anything.
Anything before we let you go, mate?
That's all I got for now. This has been unbelievable.
That's enough, brother.
Man, I'd like every time I come on here, I'm thinking, what am I going to talk about? This is more like, what am I not going to talk about?
Love it. Appreciate you off the top too, man. Olgun Ulick, of course, you can find all his work on ESPN. The Scottie Pippen piece was outstanding. It's on ESPN social media as well. Quick break. Big Sauce is in next on NBL Overtime. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved, wherever you might be. Leonard Copen, Cam, Luke, and Hot Sauce, Big Sauce. Alan Williams in the house. Host, of course, of Getting Saucy, the podcast, and part-time basketballer as well, man. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great.
You good?
Feeling better. Got out and did some 5-on-5 stuff today for the first time with the guys, and I'm trending well.
Are you back yet?
I'm not back yet. I'm not back yet. We still got some more Tyler Cook on the way for y'all.
Well, actually, how's Tyler's eye?
Tyler's doing better.
Are you going to play this week or not?
the goal is to try to get him to play on Saturday, and I think that everything's kind of trending in the right direction. And fingers crossed that he'll be suiting up for us against the Jackies.
Answered like a basketball.
You're going to need him against the Jackies.
Yes, absolutely. Sure. We'll get to the JJ shortly. Big Sauce going to join us, though. For the rest of the show, we're going to start, though, with this Aaron Baines situation. We just spoke about Olgun. What do you make of it? You're a player. You're watching these things happen. What do you make from it?
I think the biggest thing is understanding the impact that you have on the game. And so obviously Aaron Baines is a cornerstone for the NBL, a cornerstone for Australian basketball. And I just think there's a lot more pressure that's put on him being in that situation. And he has to act accordingly. And so I think cooler heads always prevail. Obviously, we don't know what went on in the hallway. We're still waiting on hearing about what's kind of going on. But first and foremost, you got to calm yourself down. You got to be able to get to the locker room, decompress, talk to your teammates, and then hopefully get out in the second half and try to win that game.
That's tough. It is really tough.
I've been hitting the face.
And the players, his teammates tried to calm him down as well. So he was so gone that there was no bringing back, you know what I mean? So that's why, again, I said something about maybe the referees going to him and having a chat. And they tried, but it just didn't work.
No, and my point is, and both of you gentlemen have done this on a regular basis around the world. I just think from the outside looking in, when in the heat of the moment, it's okay when we're sitting here a couple of days later. You know, Copes, you've been retired 20 years now, and I understand exactly what the logical point of view is to take a big, deep breath. But in the heat of the moment, big game, big crowd, joint rocking, like it's not as easy as maybe
Queensland
it sometimes feels.
Yeah, of course.
Anthony Lamb, we did just have the news. He's going to be a New Zealand breaker. Do you know much about him?
Not necessarily personally, but I watched a lot of NBA games last season. He obviously played for the Golden State Warriors. It's a championship caliber type organization, and so I think that wealth of knowledge that he has, along with his versatility and his ability to shoot the three ball, is going to help out the Breakers a lot.
Does it make them a better team?
Yes, absolutely. I wasn't really familiar with the Justin Jessup kid, but I do know a guy like Anthony Lamb coming into this Breakers team that's on the way up is a good thing for him.
Man, if you put him at the 2 spot.
Who? How many times are you going to call me Liam, man? Come on. I'm way better looking than Liam. Everyone always says to me. Everyone always says to me, Liam's a knowledgeable one, Cam's a good looking one. I'm sick of hearing it, to be fair.
Sorry, Cam. Okay. If you put him at the 2 spot.
I've only known you 25 years.
His body's big enough where he can post a lot of guards up, man. You know what I mean? So the fact that he shoots the ball well, you add him with Will McDowell-White. They got some big guards out there now, so it brings something different to that
Coach,
team.
you love those guards that post up. You were talking about that in the broadcast.
You know what?
And you guys are starting now to bring in all the smaller guards. You better be glad I didn't play.
This is what Coach would be jogging down. Sort of be yelling out, "Mouse in the house." He just for the whole time, and then that would mean give him the pill.
Gazy will come down and shoot the three.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Gazy would shoot a three, and Coach is like, "I got like a 5'6" guard on me." DJ Fazilovic, rumoured Adelaide if it all works out. Of course, Olgun broke down the process nicely. Copes is huge on him making the 36ers a lot better from afar. Again, how do you see it?
Anytime you can bring in knowledge and experience in the NBL, it's a good thing, especially for a team like Adelaide right now who seems to be struggling. I think an 0-4 start is nowhere near where they thought they would be on the table this year. And so I think possibly bringing in a DJ Vasiljevic to add shooting and experience can definitely help them. I don't know if it takes them from 10 to 6, like Copes has said, but he is an experienced NBL player and does bring value.
How many championships?
2.
Thank you.
2. No one's questioning how good of a player he is, right? He's right on the
So any good player, so here's the thing. Does any good player help Adelaide?
A good import does.
So why does he have to be an import? Because this guy can do the same thing an import does.
So you are certain, but we haven't seen him average 20 a game, but you are absolutely certain.
I've seen him average 40 a game. And I know now, yes, it was in smaller leagues.
Where?
He's been doing that since he was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years.
Scorer's mentality.
And it's all about his mentality, I keep telling you. So if you think shoot, and you're making him, he's going to be good.
I'm not arguing how talented he is and what he can do by putting the ball in the hoop. I love him. I'm just not certain he's You're saying 20 or 22 a game. Now, he may come in and do exactly that and we eat humble pie. I'm also...
I hope he does.
I
hope he does. I hope Adelaide brings it in and he gets out and he gets to it and plays well because he's a very talented player. No doubt about it.
I just think the 3 guards that they have now are pass first.
Yeah, that's also true. That's also true.
All of them do this first. Whereas he ain't passing.
So-
He's letting it go.
So you're 100% confident, and I'm assuming this is probably going to be the case, that CJ says, green light, baby, this is you. This is your
100%.
team. Yep, cool.
100%.
Looking forward to it, and hopefully the timing works, and we see him in a 36er jersey. All right. Now, Coach is only a couple of weeks into this show, but he's already picked up on the show very quickly, doing a wonderful job, and in particular when it comes to tooting his own horn. Let's go back. Let's go back to week 1 when the now infamous Can't Cope segment started.
Here's the thing. Why is Bryce Cotton able to get the ball? 2 seconds, 3 seconds left on the clock. Why aren't we doubling Bryce and making someone else beat you? He's proven he can knock down the three. You coaches out there, please, I'm talking to you now. I don't know everything, but I'm going to tell you now. If Bryce Cotton has a chance to win the game, he's going to win it. Double him or on the high pick and rolls.
Yep.
Double him, man. Make him swing that ball. Don't give him an opportunity to shoot the ball in.
Why do you think now? All right, here's some examples.
5 set, one-on-one. Okay, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going.
That was season 1.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, come on back. One guy on him, and look who's on him. Come on, man.
Hang on, that's Abercrombie. He's a pretty decent defender.
So
over
go
there.
double him and make somebody else beat you. One guy on him, he's gonna knock him down.
All right, so that was 2 weeks ago, and CJ Bruton right now is probably thinking, why did I listen to Leonard Copeland? Take it from here about what happened last Friday night.
Oh, I think Bryce Cotton got the ball, and he swung it to Sarr for the win. But that's all right. I'd much rather an 18-year-old beat me than Bryce Cotton. You can't lose the same. Lindsey Gage used to say it all the time. Don't lose the same way. Now, if Bryce takes that shot, it's a three as well. So, don't try to make me look bad.
Let's roll the vision for late night last Friday night, of course. Cracking game Friday night, getting close, late in the game, bang.
Because Bryce is a smart player.
And again,
look,
bang.
That's the right play.
That's the right play. But look, can we roll that again? He was going in the triple. There was going to be 3 guys on him, so he just did the right thing.
I mean, look, that's why he's the best import that this league has ever seen.
No, don't say it. Don't say
The best import I've ever seen.
That's the
I don't want to hurt anybody.
Slow down, brother.
But no, that's the right play.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
If you have a superstar that makes that play, you're that much better.
And that you pointed this out, of course, as much as we're tongue-in-cheek in some aspects, the fact is you say it, right? You would rather an 18-year-old next star who's extremely talented, Alex Sarr doing wonderful things each and every game, but you would rather him beat you than Bryce Cotton, who has beaten probably every single club in this league
100%.
since he got here.
100%.
You know who I blame? Leonard Copeland.
Yeah.
Now, I could be wrong here. I could absolutely be wrong. But did you coach against Bryce Cotton in his first ever game in the NBL?
Yes.
Why didn't you double him straight off? If you had to double him straight off the plane, had you have doubled him straight off, maybe he wouldn't have got this momentum and be as good as he is.
I'm sitting here today, That is true. So, he came off the plane and gave us 26, 27 points.
You know, the only person who could stop Gaze and Copeland was Bryce Cotton, and he played 20 years after they retired. Let's get to what you want to talk about this week. Can't cope. Do you have something else for us?
No. That was
You sure?
No, I don't think I have anything else.
You don't have anything else?
No. You'll know when I bring something with fire.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Okay, beautifully done. You want to talk about Milton Doyle, is that correct?
I'd love to.
Okay, let's do it, because he had a great weekend.
Listen, it's a perfect example of that, too. It's who do you want to beat you? And if I'm anybody playing against the Jack Jumpers, I don't want it to be him. He gets downhill with ease, reads the pick and roll. His best thing is his ability to play at his own pace.
Yes.
Always makes the right reads, similar to a Bryce Cotton, makes the right plays for his teammate, comes off here, screen for Marcus Lee, probe, let me wait till you fully commit. Oh, floater over the top. He has the 3 ball in his arsenal. He's just a guy that is just super clutch when his team needs him.
You know what? And the one thing I love about him is he doesn't go out and take a million shots.
No.
Like in the first half, you didn't know he was on the floor. When they need him, he's coming to the party every single time. And he's smooth with it. Like you said, he's got the size. Yeah. He plays his style of basketball, and no one else can stop him.
He All-NBL first team last year. He's somewhat underrated, which is remarkable, because he right now is where in MVP rankings if you were to do
Well,
it.
I picked him.
You were the only man.
Journalist to pick
Only
him to
man.
win MVP. Yeah.
And you still got him. You're even more
100%.
bullish now.
Oh, yeah.
Understandably so. He reminds me of a couple of years ago. Of course, you might not have seen this because it was before your time. Lamar Patterson when he was at Brisbane, and they made the semis a couple of years.
Smaller.
Yeah, but I mean from the way that he allows the game to evolve.
Sure.
And then you get to the last 5 or 6 minutes, and he's like,
and no one can stop him.
and get the pill, and then he takes over.
Well, for what it's worth, United didn't do anything to try and stop them.
No,
they didn't
right.
trap the ball
Yeah.
and get him off of it. They had Hork-Porty still back in a drop.
Yeah.
Without a hand to carry the contest, it was like, I'm watching the game and I'm just like, what's going on?
Are you guys playing them this week?
We're playing the Jackies this week. And listen, we're going to be up.
It feels like a double team. Hey,
We gotta be
Milton, I know you watch the show, man. Be ready. But he's a very good passer.
He is.
He's a very good
That's what I mean,
passer,
though.
which
He
makes it
doesn't
hard.
force anything.
Yeah.
He gets other guys involved, and he's got Jordan Crawford who
Yes.
can fire as well. So you got to play both of them straight
Now,
up.
we're going to talk more about Tazzy on the other side of the break, but I just want to make a very quick mention of the uniforms they wore on Sunday. They may be the best uniforms in the league. I loved them. I loved them, and I hope they're going to continually wear them.
Maybe we can get somebody to send you one if you love him that much.
Yeah.
Can someone send him a
Actually,
uniform, please?
that reminds us while we're actually on that. I'm going down to Tassie in a couple of weeks. I need a couple of courtside seats. So the jersey and the seats. Quick break. We'll talk about Tazzy and the Cant Stipends because they both had perfect weekends on court next.
But you can't leave this guy on the island.
Doyle relocates. Back-to-back threes to start the third quarter.
What? Step back. One legger step back.
Goodness. So what a fight back this has been from Tasmania. They were down 13 in the last quarter, but they have prevailed here.
Huge weekend for Tasmania, 2-0. Friday night, they knock off the reigning two-time champions. Then on Sunday, they go to an arena, John Cain in Melbourne against United, where they're so comfortable, down 13 in the fourth, and get it done. Tassie fans, there's no Liam Santa Maria, so we're all on the bandwagon. Of course, famously last year, he pretty much said you couldn't do anything, and then you all told him about it. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. They were good. I'll start with you, Copes. They were outstanding. Really good Friday night, even better late on Sunday, which is really their trademark. Never out of games. Even when they lost to Perth in the opening weekend, they looked dead and buried in the fourth, gave themselves a chance to win.
They just look so comfortable. I mean, even though they're down, like you said, Jordan Crawford came in the first half and got them going. What did he score? The first 8 points against Melbourne United? Got them going. They're all cheering. They're all fired up. But look, they just look like a team. They look like they're focused, and you can never count this team out. And we've been saying that since they come into this league, which is 3 years, and everyone goes, this is a new team. There's no way they're going to make the playoffs. They made the grand final the first year. So whatever they're doing down there, they got to keep doing it because they're playing fantastic basketball.
Jimmy comes in as well. Really, really nice addition. See someone like Jax McVeigh, who's just got continually better every single NBL season. You have a look at these players. Their imports are top quality. They still have Will Magnay to come. Now, offensively, you're not going to need Will Magnay to essentially be incredibly proficient as a scorer. At the other end.
Wow.
At the other end, it goes to a whole new level. They were really good. As an opposition player's source, well, when you see Tasmania, not necessarily from these two games, but when you see and you know they're coming to town like they are this weekend, what goes through your mind?
I think it's just understanding that they have a style of play. There's a true definition of Jackie's basketball. Like Jordan Crawford talked to you at halftime and said they weren't doing that in the first half.
Right.
And they weren't getting the baskets. They weren't diving on the floor and hustling for loose balls. And in the third and fourth quarter of that game, they started to do that and started to get their identity back and came back with a win that obviously none of us at the panel here are surprised. But I'm sure a lot of people were surprised because they thought Tazzy were out of that game. It just speaks to, one, their depth, two, how Scott Roth runs the organization and program, and the buy-in of those guys. And it starts with Milton Doyle coming in as an import, buying all the way into that system. They have a lot of room to continue to grow too. They're good.
The particular way they play their basketball, how hard is it to try and push them out of their structure? You played them last year when you were on the court. Is it almost impossible because of the Scott Roth and the discipline factor of which they've shown?
Yeah, I mean, you win games against Tazzy because you're able to get them out of those systems, right? And so they're a very physical team, and so initially you want to be physical first. You want to hit first, hit them in the mouth, see how they react, and understand that once you hit them and they're down, they're going to continue to come back. And now I think this team is able to grow and get bigger and get stronger with Marcus Lee being on the floor for more minutes and staying out of foul trouble.
There you go. He has to stay out of foul trouble. But Scott Roth is so calm. I was at the game on Sunday, and I covered the timeouts. He comes to the sideline and talks to his players, and he's so quiet. I couldn't hear him. First of all, it's packed, and I couldn't hear him. He's just so calm with him writing his plays. The guys bring it in. And Milton Doyle threw his little 2 cents in. He's very quiet as well. So they got that sort of team where they're not trash talkers or whatever. They just get the job done, and I love what he's done.
You mentioned the fact that no one's surprised that they were able to raise a double-digit deficit in the last quarter and win, right? When you're watching the game, you're like, this is over. Yeah. This is over. Ian Clark had a 3, would have put him up 30. This game's done. Yeah. And then the game ends, and you're like, there's no surprise there. So it is interesting. In the moment, you're feeling that they are done. Same thing with Perth in the opening game of their season. Down 16, Perth have got the joint going, this thing's over. Yeah. Next thing you know, they're getting a shot to get it within one play. It's a remarkable skill set, and it's led by Scott Roth for a million different reasons, but one of them is his calming influence that his players respond so well
What
to.
is it about the John Cain Arena, though? Ever since they've come into this league, they just look so much more comfortable in this arena, in Melbourne.
I think legitimately winning that game 3. Semi-final, get into a grand final. Now, I know it's a different team, and it's a different team with Tasmania, but they actually went. I was at game 2 of the NBL semi-final series, their first ever final. The joint was unreal. They beat Melbourne by 5 or 6, whatever it was. And then they go there on a Monday night, John Cain Arena, 300 Tasmanians. No one picked them. No one picked them. And then all of a sudden they roll in, they make a grand final. So now they're like, you know what? We did it when no one thought we could do it. In our biggest game in franchise history, we can do it on a Sunday in October. That has to be
as a player, too, if you played well in a venue, the next time you go there, your eyes light up. You know,
like for me, my favorite games are the throwdown games against John Cain when it's a United home game because you get to go in and shut those United fans up. And that brings me a lot of joy to be able to do that and try to do that on a daily basis.
What was your favorite stadium?
Oh, I played great everywhere else. So it didn't matter. I mean, wherever I went, man. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're not kidding. You're legitimate. He's serious.
Sydney were my 2 favorites.
Where was the first one, sorry?
Perth and Sydney.
Perth and Sydney.
I won my first championship in Perth.
Of course.
And then obviously Sydney was Sydney. You know?
Yeah, I don't want to bring it up. I don't know if you know this, but he did get, I won't let him talk, I'll speak. He got robbed of the finals MVP.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry about it. I got the next one. I got the next one.
You agree? Yeah, cool. Beautiful. Hey, you know who I'm loving? Loving. And the Next Star program, it is contractually into our contracts that we have to talk Next Stars at some point with Liam Santamaria. He's not here, but I'm still going to do it because let's have a look at Bobby Clintman. Cairns, of course, so much talk of what's happened off the court, but they were 2-0 on the weekend, and this young man just oozes confidence, and it is so fun to watch.
Don't you love his confidence? Yeah. He's knocking down shots. He's talking to the people on the sidelines. He's letting you know he can play, and you better guard him because he's capable of knocking down big shots and getting big numbers.
His personality fits this league, fits the NBL, fits Australian basketball, and I think his smile and his energy that he brings on the court all the time is just it's fantastic for the league.
And it fits Cairns, right? Absolutely. All those Cairns players, and Adam Ford does this in the recruiting stage all the way to pre-season into games. They all got to believe that they're the best player on the court and they can do whatever they do to make Cairns
But it's almost like they play, it's them against the world.
Absolutely.
Everywhere they go, it's them against the world.
Absolutely. And like Adam Ford would be saying at some point, oh, Bobby, no one else wants to
get
You know what? Here's the mock draft, man. No one sees you in the NBA. And it's going to work because he's talented, but the way he plays his basketball and his personality, like that interview with Derek Rucker post-game was really good. I don't think Derek Rucker's been called sir for like 35 years, but he's like, yes, sir. It's so great to see, and it's a team also that they believe in themselves so much. And last year, there's a little house money, I guess, attached to it because no one really expected it, and we see it a lot. They were great. They were 12 minutes away, 5-6 minutes away from a grand final berth. And to be able to see them back it up early, play some good basketball, I think it's great. And those two teams we talk on, Tazzy and Cairns, have fabulous home court advantages. They're a little smaller occasionally when it comes to profile, but they just pack these gyms out. And I'm assuming it's tough to play in both places.
Yeah, no, I mean, playing down in Tazzy is always tough because it feels like you're really in an anthill and you're getting pricked and bit.
And it's loud,
and it's loud, and it's cold oftentimes, and it's just like you feel like you're in a different place when you're down there. But just the way that they've been able to respond to the Jack Jumpers coming down there and the fan support. And the same goes with Cairns. Like, it's hotter up there, and so it's a different kind of climate, and the way that they play with the high-paced intensity and the in-your-face kind of defensive skip you kind of mentality that they kind of have in Kansas, it really bodes well for that fan base as well.
We used to head down there a little bit when you were obviously early in your NBL career, when Hobart was still around. Tough place to play back then. They were struggling late. You know, obviously Kelvin Telford dropped 50 on debut, which is one of the great NBL performances of all time. But there's a much better feeling now than it was back then, right?
Oh yeah, earlier they were pretty much easy beats down there back then. Back in the day, I mean, I'm just saying like it is. True. They were.
Yeah.
Now you know when you go to Tasmania, you gotta play. You gotta bring your A game, or you're gonna get beat.
For sure.
Bottom line.
Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. Tazzy and Cairns, great weekends as they head towards, in particular, Cairns playing some NBA teams next couple of days. We'll break that down next on NBL Overtime.
That's on a quick contested pull-up. Good looking shot there from Sunday Detch. Final second of the opening quarter.
They have come out here, they have been intimidated by the occasion, and my Gloryfield days, they are knocking it down from everywhere.
Ranks from way outside. Flashes that smile, and why not? Oh, no. And that will do it.
"12 months ago, when history was made, the Adelaide 36ers went into Phoenix and knocked off the Suns, and it leads us into what is going to be a very exciting NBA v NBL. 4 games, 2 for the Taipans, 2 for the New Zealand Breakers. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. As we have a look at the teams, of course, it starts tomorrow. The Taipans and the Wizards, the Breakers and the Blazers. And then the Taipans head north to take on the Raptors, and then the Utah Jazz will welcome New Zealand. I'm going to start with you, Source, because in this situation, now you're injured, right? But you have been around this NBA v NBL rivalry before.
Yeah, definitely. When I was in Phoenix, I remember the Breakers coming in, and we got a chance to play against that team. And obviously I couldn't play, but just to see how serious, one, the NBA teams take it.
You do, so they do take it serious?
They do take it serious.
Yep.
It's an opportunity to go out there and get real game reps. Obviously, it's against competition that you haven't seen before and may be a little bit undermatched, whether it be athletically or skill-wise or whatever you may have it. But again, it's an opportunity to get reps in, and so it's going to be good.
I'll tell you what I reckon has helped this, Copes, the fact that Melbourne United, which was the first game, Melbourne United played Oklahoma City Thunder, started 2017-18, and they nearly won. It was a block right at the end. Casper Boyer had an opportunity. In the end, it was a 1-point win for the Thunder. This has set the tone because, and I have a feeling that last year, Adelaide winning the game is going to set the tone again. I have no doubt that you guys want to win. NBA guys are like, you know what, we can't let these NBL guys come in. But then there's always a little bit of just relaxing every now and then when you see some of the scores that have been put up. I like the fact that Adelaide got the job done for obvious reasons, but it also means that Washington and the Portland Trail Blazers and Toronto and Utah are like, you know what, we can't sleep. We can't sleep on this. Yeah. And I think it's better for the series that it's that particular way.
Absolutely. Now, you're right, because when we coached in Sydney, we went over and played Utah and the Clippers, and they sort of played their guys half of the game or whatever. But when Adelaide beat that team last year, I don't care who it was, somebody made a phone call and said, wait a minute, now listen, if you guys want to be the best, you claim to be the best team in the world or the best league in the world, you got to play, man. You got to play night in and night out. You can't let a team from Australia come over here and beat you. Yeah. And I'm willing to bet you that's probably going to be the way it goes for the next 3 or 4 years. It's not going to happen.
I like New Zealand, though. I'll put that out there. I'll make the big call. I think New Zealand Breakers beat the Portland Trailblazers in their first game over in the NBL.
That's a big call.
They're a young team, the Trailblazers, and they're just early into a lot of their NBA careers. Scoot Henderson's their main guy without Dame there anymore. So you're right. They've got to roll on in and be able to handle it straight up against a physical pro team that have already hit their season up and running, which gives, I think, the Australians a little bit of an edge with their momentum in the preseason.
What about the size?
That's true.
The size is going to kill them.
Look, they're massive. The Portland Trailblazers are massive. Especially at the 5 position. You got DeAndre Ayton. You have Robert Williams, who they picked up in the trade, as well as Moses Brown, who had significant NBA minutes the season before.
Big boys.
Really big guys to go against. But it gives my boy Zylan Cheatham a chance to go out there and use his quickness and athleticism to his advantage against those bigger guys.
You wish you were playing? Do you wish the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix were a part of it? Because as you touch on Cheatham here, who you're going to speak about, the fact is you get opportunities back in front of NBA scouts again in their own backyard.
Yeah, no, I firmly believe that was a part of the decision-making in Zylan's choice to play there and Parker Jackson Cartwright's choice to play there. Just the ability to get in front of NBA eyes in a high-level competition area like that, it's big time. And I do wish I was playing in an NBA game.
I do too.
Sure.
Yeah, you do
so
too.
What
do you mean?
That'd be so much fun.
Absolutely. I think that all NBL teams should, should play.
Makes a
And
lot.
I understand the economics attached to it. I also think we get a little head start by having the season underway. I know they can distort you a little bit, but I like it. I will also point this out. As you can see, Washington's playing at home. Toronto are playing at home, Portland at home, and of course Utah at home. Yeah. When Copes was coaching against the NBA teams, where did you play the Clippers at?
We played the Clippers in LA, I think it was.
Are you sure you didn't play? Who'd you play in Hawaii?
Oh, I might have been in Hawaii.
Yeah, you played him in Hawaii.
We played.
Coach goes, man, you know what? I need a junker, man. Let's just, we won't play the Clippers in LA. We'll play him in Hawaii.
Just split the difference on the flight.
He definitely played a game in Hawaii, and I thought it was the Clippers.
I think it's Utah. We played Utah.
Okay.
In
Hawaii.
That's all right.
Not a bad place.
Not a bad place at all. You know what, though?
Copes just gets things done, man.
But let me tell you something.
He gets things done.
What it does, though, I think it sort of hurts the NBL teams sometimes when they come back, because you played against an NBA team and you're playing the NBA rules. It takes you a little time to acclimatize, jet lag, because I think Cairns only played 17 days after they played their last NBA game or something. Okay. So, you're not going to be on that level. That turnaround's going to hurt them just a little bit. Because if you're rolling when you leave here, it's hard to start back rolling again because this league's so strong. You know what I mean?
NBL Overtime to get involved. Just getting told, apparently, even though Liam Santamaria got something more important to do than NBL Overtime, we still have to see what Santa has been watching. I know, unbelievable. That's next, right here on NBL Overtime. Santa is always watching, even if Santa is not here. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved at Liam Santa if you want to help him out right across the nation. Roll it. We're going to start with a former MVP who's come back in fine form. You've got to stay loose. Jalen Adams, ready? Very important time. Bang. Little touch on the shoulder. Look at this. That counts. That counts. That is actually shooting the lights out. And I love it. Now, bit of excitement in Tasmania, but firstly we'll get to the cameraman. Get the bloody hell out of the way. I know we do love technology. Look, you get up close and personal once the game is finished. The man can dance as well as handle it, and bang, look at that. Breaks the backboard in Tasmania. It was a ring slap. That's the only thing that Tasmania's done wrong. They haven't got backboards with any strength in them.
Imagine going in and telling your coach, I just broke the backboard.
Game's off.
The game's off.
Remember Jim Hart-Villa broke the backboard in that pre-season down there as well?
The Gold Coast.
Was it on the Gold Coast? He was a Hobart player, but down the Gold Coast. That is Santa's watching, and I stuffed it up. So, Liam, that's why you have to come back next week to take control of your segment and get it right. All right, Friday night. Melbourne United on the road, RAC Arena, 13,000, screaming Red Army. It is game
13,
of the week.
Is it 13, 14?
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
13. I'll start with 13 if you want to make it 14. And hell, you know what? Sometimes, occasionally, we fudge the numbers. So it could be 18. Who knows? Yeah. But either way, I can imagine. It's going to be packed. Yep. You start with Melbourne United. They got to bounce back from a disappointing fourth quarter on the weekend.
They do. And Dean Vickerman is a defensive coach. And he wouldn't be happy with that fourth quarter because, like you said before, Doyle was easy to come off screens, shoot jump shots, and knock them down. No one was up. So I'm sure they'll work on that. The thing I saw was, and I've been saying this for years and years, Golding is the best shooter in the league by far, I think.
I agree.
Pure shooter, okay? When he knocks down 2 or 3 shots in a row or 3 or 4 shots in a row, you got to run plays for him and get him going. Now, I know this team has so many stars on it, it's going to be hard. I'm not saying it's not. You got Golding, you got Shea, you got Ian Clark who can shoot, you got Travis who can shoot, you got Hook Porty who can play. Yep. So Dean has a hard job, but I just think Golding, the way he shoots and the way he can open up a game, if he makes 1 or 2, I'm giving him the next 3 or 4 to shoot.
And that happened in the first half, right? Yeah. On Sunday when Melbourne United...
He sat down and they brought someone else in. I get it.
That happened.
Passing out early on, though.
Yeah,
sure.
He was hot. But I think he only had the 1 shot. You talk about that. This is what shooters shoot, right? 1 shot in the second half. For anyone, for the best shooter in the league, and has been for a number of years, is not enough.
Could you imagine... Andrew Gage taking 1 shot in the second half.
But you know what? Hey, and you know what would have happened if Andrew Gage only got 1 shot and a half? It meant he had 26 shots and Abby blew it in the locker room. Come on, coach, give it up.
But could you imagine that?
Agreed. No, I cannot imagine it.
That's what I'm saying. So I know, and Dean's a the great coach.
Absolutely.
He's won championships. He knows what he's doing. So I'm not here to tell Dean what to do. All I'm saying is that guy can open up a game for you. If he's not, and he loves Perth. I think Melbourne United love Perth. They go there and they win games. So get him the ball early. Let him open it up for you.
What do you make of the Wildcats?
Yeah, I mean, I like them at home.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the jungle, it's the Red Army, it's all those things that you kind of get accustomed to playing in this NBL league and playing out in Perth. For me, the most important thing is King Cotton. I think with the depth that Perth have, early on in this season, we haven't really seen those games where it's just Bryce. He's been sharing the love and getting the ball around to his teammates because they're obviously super talented with Jordan Usher, Alex Sarr, Keanu Pender. You got guys that can really score the basketball. But if this team wants to go as far as they want to go, first and foremost, they have to be good defensively, have to figure out those little lapses that they tend to have during games. And two, the ball has to be in Bryce Cotton's hand for most of the night.
Let me ask you this, though. Do you think this is the most talented the most talented team Perth's had in a while, though? Because you say, I think offensively they're the most talented. So I think Bryce Cotton plays the game the right way. So you say, yes, the ball needs to be in his hands. But as we've seen earlier, if he has the ball and someone comes to double him, he's going to swing it. He's got guys that can knock it down now. So he probably won't take as many shots this year as he did last year because he has so many guys around him.
It's interesting because they built on paper, adding Doolittle a little bit later, of course, but then having someone like Keanu Pindi come in, Usher there, they are built to try and be better defensively and on the glass than they were last year, which was their major Achilles heel in major moments. It stalls their momentum. When you can't get a defensive rebound, you know how frustrating it is. There has been those lapses already this year. Now, it's only early days, but there's been a couple of those similar situations, which I'm sure they'll rectify, but there has been a couple of times they haven't been able to hit the glass.
As good as the talent may be, I do think there were Perth teams, obviously those championship teams, that had a better fit and feel around Bryce Cotton. You understand what I'm saying? Like, talent oftentimes can be too deep. You got to figure out where to get the ball to make guys happy. Whereas the days with Damian Martin and those kind of guys where they're coming in to defend and make the job super easy for Bryce, this is a different kind of talent team that John really has to
agree, but I think the chemistry as they work their way through it, I think these home games help. Now, obviously, they're going to play on the road at some point, and they have traditionally, but these Friday night home games, national audience, Friday night, big teams coming in, JJ's at the start, Adelaide last week, Melbourne United this week, they will just start to build some momentum off the back of it, and I think they'll evolve into a little more of Bryce Cotton being the main man, which they are. You got 20 seconds, what do you got?
It's good. I think it's good to take some of that pressure off Cotton.
True, absolutely.
At the end of the day, when people stop thinking about Cotton and then they're worried about everybody else, that's when he comes in and stings you.
And they can be less physical with him, right? He has been a little banged up at the end of seasons because it's not easy to be able to carry a team at different points. We're going to get out of here. Copes, you've been good, man.
Hey, man, thank you.
Appreciate that. Are we going to see you when? Are we like 10 days away from seeing you?
I'm pulled you out of that chair.
But I'm feeling good.
That actually hurt a little bit, actually. Anyway. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. All our socials. Thursday night, we're back at it. We can't wait for it. Bring on the next weekend.